So you finally applied for the Erasmus Mundus application, and now the big question is, now what? Is the admission committee going to review my application? Am I going to receive interview call? Or I haven't received any email. Is that a bad sign? So in this video, I'll try to help you uncover all of these confusions that you have and help you understand better what happens exactly when you submit an Erasmus Mundus application. In the end, I'm going to share a tip that is going to help you leaps and bounds for your Erasmus application, something that you have never heard before. First and foremost, we need to understand that not every program in Erasmus requires an interview or they conduct an interview. I mean, an overwhelming majority of the programs do conduct interviews, but that does not mean that every single program that is listed on the Erasmus catalog is going to conduct an interview for you. So let's clear that thing out. When you apply for an Erasmus Mundus program, sometimes what happens is they just review your documents and they select you the final selection based on the documents that you submitted. For some other programs that are maybe more competitive or more research heavy ones, they will invite you for a one-on-one interview session. For example, if you applied for a program recently and haven't gotten an email or an interview call yet, don't panic, your program might not even have one. So now you guys must be wondering about the timeline. So let's discuss timelines here. What happens after you have submitted the application for a scholarship program in Erasmus? Roughly speaking, because the process might differ for different programs, so it's not exactly the same for every program. But just roughly speaking, just to give you an idea, from Jan to Feb, December, Jan, Feb, they shortlist the candidate. And then from Feb to March, they start giving you interview calls. And then from March to April, they start sending you offer letters or rejection letters. Then they also have a list. Apart from the accepted candidates and the rejected candidates, there is another list called wait list or waiting list students. So who are these students? So let's say if the program has to admit 20 people in their scholarship, they will still have some backup students in case someone from the main list does not accept the offer. So let's say from the main program, if 20 students were to be admitted and the 20th person did not accept the offer, then the next person from the waiting list is going to be admitted for the scholarship program. Like they will be sent an invitation or an admit letter for the scholarship that you got the scholarship because one guy or girl, they did not accept the offer letter. And same goes for the other waiting candidates. So if the guy who was in the waiting list did not receive it, then the next. So this is how it works, roughly speaking. This is the most asked question. I haven't received any email yet. Does that mean I've been rejected? The answer is no, not necessarily. Because as I explained earlier, different programs have different internal processes, they have different dates. So let's say if you know someone who applied for the scholarship program and they got an email or they got some kind of communication and you didn't, it's okay, wait for a few more days. Worry only if it's been a week and you haven't heard anything. And even in that scenario, I would advise that instead of just worrying and being anxious and panicking, I would say reach out to the program. Everything is available on the program's website, how to reach them, your program coordinators, emails, their contacts, everything is available on the program website. So I would advise that in that scenario, you reach out to the program, you ask them about whatever specific query you have, reach out to your seniors of that particular program and get yourself sorted. Get all of your confusions clear from them instead of just waiting around and thinking too much. Just for a brief moment, let me take you to the behind the scenes of how the selection process actually works. So there is a selection committee. In the selection committee, there are people from different universities of the consortium. What is a consortium? A consortium is a group of universities that are teaming up, that are joining together and offering the program that you have applied to. And now there are professors, people who are working in academia, reviewing your applications, your letter of recommendations, your motivational letters, your CVs and everything all together. They judge you based on all these criteria, your motivational level, your overall application, your GPA and everything. After that, they shortlist 20 to 40 people. It depends, like there are programs in which you will say like there are 30-40 people even in the program. So it depends on the program. Maybe 20-30 people on the reserve list. Even if you get email for a waiting list, just to give you an idea. So even in my program, there are people who are now with us that were in a waiting list. Maybe somebody dropped out from the initial main list and they were given the scholarship and now they are here with us. Don't be too harsh on yourself in that case, even if you get a waiting list, so you still have a chance. I still believe that people who are on the waiting list, they should think they are still in the game and they will get a chance. Here is something that I wanted to share that I know nobody has ever told you before, and most of the students also don't know about. So I mentioned about professors in the selection committee in the consortium. So yes, these are actually the people who will be reviewing your Erasmus application. Your application is not going to be reviewed by people in the corporate or by HR people or somebody from Google. It's actually people who are working in the academia, who have spent decades as academic, doing research, teaching. They have exposure. If you understand the psyche of who is actually going to review your application, you can give them what they want in your application. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. Let's say, and how to find the people who are going to review your application. So these people are actually the professors from the universities in the consortium. Where would you find this information? How to find them? You go to your program. I don't know how many times I have said this sentence, gazillion times, but I'm going to reiterate again and again because it's so important to know your program properly. So you go to your program website, you go to your professor section, people section, and then you go and you dig them up. You dig the people who are mentioned in the website. These are actually the people who will, like, the selection committee will be comprised of the people who are mentioned as professors for the program. So you go, you look up their research. What research are they doing? In what particular area they are particularly interested in? You go to maybe LinkedIn, they will definitely have a LinkedIn. You go, you see their posts and you try to connect and you understand how they are thinking, what is their, like, in terms of personality, how they are and what they like, what they don't like. Once you have all this information with you, when you are writing that SOP, that asking for that LOR, making that Erasmus CV, now you have a good idea of who is actually going to review your application and you can tailor-make your application according to that info. This will give you an extra edge over the other people who just put everything that they thought is relevant without actually understanding the needs of the people who have advertised the program. Just like demand and supply concept. So you give them what they want. In the end, I would like to say that I know this waiting phase can be really, really hard for everyone. Because some days you feel confident, some days you are full of doubt, because you see people posting their shortlists or interview calls and you wonder, why not me? But I want you guys to remember something, that your worth isn't defined by how fast you get an email. This process is about patience. It's about consistency and self-belief, because you've already done something very, very brave. You have applied, you showed up for yourself. And it's completely okay to pause, take a breath, and trust what you have built so far. And no matter at all what happens, whether you get selected, you are waitlisted, or you are rejected, not this time. But remember one thing, you are still growing, you are learning, and you are not alone. I'm always rooting for you guys.